Welcome to the Imperfect Dads podcast.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Devin.
We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids,
but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like.
Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood.
And how they feel like they're holding it all together.
Or how they're not.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. On this episode, we have on Val and Blake Hudson with the Family Sleep Coach. We talked about how they had twins and decided to have another kid, why we all prefer an SUV to a minivan, how Val started the Family Sleep Coach, and how much sanity a sleep schedule brought to their life with having little kids and Blake going back to school. Val is a certified sleep consultant. She offers services for establishing sleep habits for babies up to 12 weeks. Make sure to go to her website, thefamilysleepcoach.com, and set up a discovery phone call with her if you're having issues with establishing a sleep rhythm with your baby. And also just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad. Anyway, hey, Valerie and Blake, thanks for being willing to do an episode.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. How about just introduce yourselves? You guys are a couple, so whenever I say how many kids do you have, you guys will have the same answer, I'm assuming. So yeah, introduce yourselves.
Cool. So I'm Val, my husband Blake. We're local here to Nashville, and we have 3 kids. So we have twin boys. They are almost 5, and our daughter will be 3 this month.
Wait, so you had twin boys and then you had another kid?
Yes.
Oh my God. So, but like everything I've read, everyone I've talked to is you have twins and like the possibility or probability for having twins again is like, I'm good.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Talk to me about that. How did you go from twins and the chaos of having twins and like, you know what? I want to do this again.
It's interesting because we originally had always said 2 kids. 2 kids sounds great. Blake's an only child. I have 2 siblings. So we kind of were meeting in the middle there with 2 kids. And then if we had the boys, we were like, man, we kind of expected to do this twice. We expected 2 pregnancies. We expected that, that second time around to be a little more prepared. And so that's how we were like, you know what, we can do this again. Our boys are so relaxed. They're very like mellow, just easygoing kids. And then our daughter is the wild child. So she really, she threw a wrench in the mix for sure.
That's no matter what. I feel like the second kid always, even if, or I guess for you guys it'd be third kid, the second pregnancy always is kind of like, oh yeah, this isn't what I thought this would look like in good ways. But the kid's personality shows up and you're like, how are you so different than the other kids? Everything, all the situation's pretty much the same, but you are drastically different.
Yeah. Same ingredients, but what's going on here?
Yes. And I know like, I'm always interested by this with twins. Like, do your twin boys, do they both have firstborn characteristics or are they more like, okay, cool.
No, both very much firstborn characteristics. So that's why I truly think that like our daughter I think of her as the second born, even though she's the third kid, because she takes on those characteristics much more.
Blake, how do you feel like it felt going from like having 2 boys to suddenly having a daughter? How was that transition for you?
Well, I feel a little tricked because, well, first of all, our boys were so easy. And so that's like, oh, won't be that bad just to have one when we're already used to having more than one. And then like a lot of guys I talked to that had daughters are like, daughters are so easy, like they're easygoing, way easier than boys. And then like that was not the case for us. It was like I feel bamboozled because this was not the case. But I was excited to have a girl because I always kind of thought it'd be fun to be like a girl dad and get to do the daddy-daughter dances and that whole thing, different dynamics. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I have 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and 3-year-old son. And like, yeah, the difference between which of your kids needs to get out energy and the way they get out energy, it's just drastically different. My firstborn, like, happily sit there and read a book for like the entire day. Secondborn needs to sprint constantly, and then the thirdborn just chases after her the entire time. Some days I'm trying to figure out how do I keep you guys all entertained whenever the first one would rather be in a room by themselves away from everyone else. But I can't just leave her in there, so
right.
It's fun.
Include her.
Yeah. There'll be therapy bills later, but I just don't want that to be one of the reasons,
My dad never made me come out and play.
Yeah, exactly.
He left me in there all day long.
Yes. reading Harry Potter happily. Yeah, come on, kid.
3 kids is fun though. It's interesting to see their, their relationship and all of that. So it's fun.
Yeah, it is. I'm assuming it sounds like your boys get along pretty well together.
Yes, they do. They get along really well. And I've talked to a lot of, just connected with a lot of twin moms in different Facebook groups and things like that. And it's interesting to hear the families where the twins, it's like constant fights and arguments, and they needed separate bedrooms and they had to be separated in daycare or separated in kindergarten. I just don't anticipate that for our, with our boys. They really just get along well. They like to be around each other, call each other their best friend. It's sweet.
I feel like we got lucky because Bluey exists. So the girls, I feel like, try to emulate, Bingo and Bluey.
Yeah.
So like they share a room currently. And the other day they're like, we want to split up rooms. And we're like, don't you remember that Bluey episode? They just moved back into the same room. Also, we don't have a room for you guys to move into.
That was something we thought about when we moved into this house that we're in now, is we thought, okay, we have a room if they ever want to separate. I just don't envision it. I kind of imagine that they'll stay together.
Yes, I think middle school is whenever I anticipate my oldest to look up and be like, kind of want my own space. And then we'll figure out what do we do with the guest room. And, because she would take the guest room. It's figuring out all that fun stuff.
I shared a room with my younger sister until middle school. I think I was 12 or 13 when I was like, all right, guys, we can't do this anymore.
Yep.
And we needed our own space. I don't know if boys are the same way or not. I grew up with all sisters. So I'm not sure what that dynamic will look like with brothers.
Yep. I shared a room. My brother is 6 years older than me, and I shared a room with him until he went off to college. But also, though, I feel like I did. I don't remember exactly. But also, though, like, I feel like we didn't have another room to go to. So, like, the scarcity also greatly determines it. Like, it's like, hey, we only have a 3-bedroom house. So, like, there's nowhere else to put you.
Yeah, this is what you get.
You figure it out. So,
yep.
It's great. Did you guys, whenever you had your third kid, did you already have the minivan, or did you buy the minivan with the third kid?
I'm an SUV mom.
Yes, good. Me too. I'm a third row SUV dad. Yes, good.
Third row SUV mom here. Blake and I actually met working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Seriously?
And yeah, that's how we met. And
nice.
We were both working there when we started dating. And so I just was like, I've driven a lot of minivans. I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we rocked the SUV.
But we did upgrade once the third kid came along.
Yeah. Like, are you okay with the third row SUV life, or do you wish you had a minivan? You can tell me, it's okay.
As far as like practicality and finances go, yeah, a minivan would be nice. But like, I'm kind of a car guy. I've always been in cars, and I hate driving minivans. So I'm glad to have an SUV. So no regrets.
Yep, same. I almost wish that we had like the only thing I wish for our third row SUV is that it had like the captain's chairs, where it has like the middle where you can get in the back and stuff. But that's the only change I would make to our third row SUV, is because for any kid to get in the back, you got to either throw them in the trunk or fold down the middle seat, and it's just not that convenient. So
yeah, I wonder if we'll feel that way down the road. Right now, we went with a bench because at the time when we had our daughter, all 3 kids were in rear-facing car seats because we had 3 under the age of 2 when she was born.
Yep.
So 3 in rear-facing car seats was just so much easier having them all in one row because they weren't anywhere near the ability to like buckle themselves in. So it was a lot easier on us to just go straight across the middle.
Yep. We keep all 3 of ours in the middle seat still. I think one of them would probably be happy to get into the very back. But then then it just changes the dynamics of like the car so much. So, one of them gets in the back and then they're like, but I want to get in the back too. And I'm like, we just got groceries. I actually can't like start folding down seats. Like I just took up the whole trunk space. So.
And then you have to start keeping track of who got to ride in the third row the last time.
That's the worst.
I don't like to keep track of those things.
Nope,
but
because I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. If I cared, it would be so much easier to keep track of that. But I'm like, it doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't.
Last time.
No, our 3-year-old is still like in the the big car seat and everything, and he'll be like, I want to sit in the trunk, and I'm like, oh, your car seat doesn't fit back there, buddy. It does. It 100% could. I'm just not going to detach it, put it in the back, rehook it on the process for getting the. My oldest is no longer in a booster. My middle child is in a booster, and he's in the big car seat. So the other 2 can like switch in and out like it's nothing. But yeah, with him, I'm always just like, yep, sorry, man, your car seat doesn't fit because I don't want to unbuckle it.
Car seats are the worst. Sometimes I walk away with cuts and scrapes.
Yeah, man.
And, yeah, it's bad.
And also, there's like no way to like whenever you're doing the middle buckle, you're always like just putting your hand into your child's crotch to get the buckle out, and you're just kind of like, this is this feels like I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, somehow when we had all these kids, I inherited handling sleep, and Blake inherited car seats. So
Yeah,
now
there you go.
Yeah.
You gotta
He's a
like
car
pull
seat
the
guy.
little latch system out, and there's like Cheez-Its and
Dude, yeah.
fruit snacks, and
Yeah.
it's
So gross.
Do you get okay? So I've noticed this with my oldest. Her seat is always not that dirty, but the other two are disgusting. Like as if they took a packet of peanut butter crackers, crushed it with their hands, and then just opened it and did this with it. Like, have you guys noticed when you go to clean your kids' seats, which ones are not as messy as the other ones?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our twin B, so the
Yeah.
second born of the twins, he will at times refuse to sit in his car seat if there are too many crumbs in it. And today I opened my daughter's door and there was just a spray of applesauce across the window. And she
Fantastic.
didn't care. And I was like, this is disgusting. Cole would never. He'd be like, I need Windex, I need a paper towel, something. This has to stop.
I've heard of siblings who share a room and one of them will look at the other one and be like, no, you're not playing in here. You're too messy. Like when their friends come over, they're like, no, I just cleaned this place up. You're getting out of here. And I'm like, so what do you got? Now I know what your parents say whenever they just clean the house.
Right? That's what they're repeating what they've heard.
And also probably not wrong. So I get it. Dude, but Blake, just know whenever they get into the booster seats and they can buckle themselves a little bit, life does get better and it's easier to clean up. But you got all the buckles and everything. And yeah, you're cutting up your hand while also wrestling them. They're like trying to tickle you at the same time. And you're like, just trying to make sure you don't die. Buckle.
Yeah, I love it.
So anyway, besides the joys of cars and kids, tell us about your company. Like you guys do sleep training, right? Please tell us about all that stuff.
Yeah, so I own the Family Sleep Coach. I'm a certified pediatric sleep consultant. Kind of happened upon this at random. Her and Cole, who are twins, they're COVID babies. So we found out late February of 2020 that we're having twins. And like 3 weeks later, everything shut down in the world. And so we weren't sure if we would have any help or what things were going to look like come October, November of that year. So I really just started kind of poring over everything I could figure out about kids sleep because I knew exactly nothing about how to get these children to sleep. But I just thought, we don't have any help. At the time, Blake was back in school. And so there was no paternity leave. There was no dad gets a break to be able to help. We brought those babies home from the hospital on a Monday afternoon, and Tuesday morning he had class at 8 a.m. So we really I was trying to be as prepared as possible. And our boys came about a month early. So at around, but no NICU times. We were good.
That's great.
We all came home together. And at about 10 weeks actual age, they were sleeping through the night. It was the week of Christmas of 2020. I was like, this is a beautiful gift. Thank you guys. But I just thought like, man, they're just really easy babies. Like, okay, great. And then did it again about 8 months later with my nephew. And then my daughter came about a year later after that and had another baby sleeping through the night at like 10, 12 weeks. And I told Blake, my daughter was 4 months old, and I said, man, I really wish I could like help more people do this because we were just at a point where we were enjoying our kids so much more than it felt like some of our friends who had young babies were enjoying their kids. And we were kind of climbing out of this place of being tired and not having our cups filled to being able to like say, okay, one night a week, Blake doesn't have to do bedtime. He gets to do something with his friends, and one night a week I do something that fills my cup. And because one person could put 3 kids to bed without there being a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to help other families experience that. And Blake was so supportive. He, kind of helped me get through the training course, and he's a software engineer. So he built my website and has helped me along the way so much with that. And so it's been a couple of years now that we've been kind of spending time with families virtually and in person, getting to, help their kids sleep better, help the parents get to enjoy their lives again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those like first 6 months of having a newborn are kind of like, oh, you just like normally I feel like all of your like your release valves to like recharge yourself don't feel like you have access to them anymore. So it's like, well, let me go hang out with friends. No, you have a newborn at home. Okay, can't do that. Let me sleep through the night. Oh, you can't predict that the way you thought you
Can't do
could
that.
predict that. So, now, if you can help people figure out how to predict at least one aspect of having a little baby, man, that's like, because that's what I always think is like, why is a newborn so hard? It's you just can't predict anything, like at all, nothing. And then you have to respond to it with love and without exhaustion whenever you're exhausted. And it's not a good
Yeah.
formula.
It's like maybe you'll get 2 or 3 nights where you get these nice like 6-hour stretches of sleep. You feel like a new person, and then the next night they're up every 45 minutes. You're
Yep.
like, why? What did
Yeah.
we do differently? And you're
Huh?
obsessing over what the day looked like, and you never know when you can leave the house. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
can I grocery shop? Can I not grocery shop? Can we go see friends? I have no idea when this kid's going to sleep. Will they sleep outside of the house?
Yeah.
Does it have to be the perfect sleep environment to get 20 minutes?
Yeah.
So it's definitely tricky and daunting for parents, especially as they're trying to like troubleshoot these things while exhausted.
Yep.
It's hard.
I think my wife was able to breastfeed all 3 of her kids. So yeah, then you also go into like the thought of like, okay, how much caffeine did I have today? Like did something that I ate then transfer down to the baby and that's why they're still awake at this time? And it's like, yeah, you go down all these trails of like, well, I'm just not going to drink caffeine ever again. It's like, I don't know if that's what did it.
Yeah. And and it takes weeks to figure it out.
Yes.
When you're trying to eliminate something while you're breastfeeding, it takes so long to really like reap the benefits of that. And you're like, okay, well, I guess we'll go 2 weeks without caffeine, see if it helps. And when it doesn't, you're like, great, I've been extra exhausted for 2 weeks.
I've been harming myself. Yeah. I've been torturing myself just in hopes that this would work. And it didn't do anything.
Right. I've been mean to my spouse, extra mean to my spouse.
Yes.
And I didn't have to be.
Didn't have to be, yes. Blake, what'd you go back to school for? Was it for software engineering?
Yep. I got a computer science degree. Let's see. So I graduated, 21? Or is that? I'm trying to think back. Yeah. And then I got a job that February. It was in December. That's why it was kind of throwing me off. And then, got that job the following February. So
nice. What'd you do before?
Kind of bounced around. Like she said, met at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I had like a short-term thing for that after college. I went to college at the traditional age right out of high school, and then did some sales jobs, customer service, different things, and was just kind of trying to figure out what I was interested in. And my dad has been a software engineer for a while, and I kind of always like steered away from it just because like, oh, he's nerdy. I don't want to be a nerd and like do computers like he does. But I kind of have this natural knack for it, and I could just see the things that he said that he liked about it. And I kind of figured out that my personality kind of also like some of those things. It was like deeper than the surface stuff. Then, instead of like being computers, it's like the problem solving and troubleshooting that goes a little deeper than the surface things. So yeah, I went for different ways to get into it. I looked at, but the way I decided to go back to school instead of like being self-taught or boot camp is just looked at job descriptions and see what they put on there. And a lot of them had computer science degrees. So I was like, well, if I want to get in here, I'll just get the degree. And since I already had one, it only needed like a couple years.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. And I feel like programming world is also a lot more communal, and it's like you troubleshoot and then you go to people to be like, hey, my troubleshooting didn't work. And there's a lot of ways to like build community around that realm as well.
Yeah. It's a lot more collaborative than you would think. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my thought, because my wife part of her job was to help hire like software engineers at a previous job. And she's like, yeah, it's like this huge community where you all are like trying to figure out stuff out together. And I'm like, every movie is just a really nerdy, overweight guy with glasses sitting in a room by himself typing and going, that's not working. It's not working. So not what I would have thought.
No.
Do you get pretty flexible hours, or are you able to like, do you work at home or do you work remote for your job?
Yeah, so I'm technically hybrid. There's an office south of Nashville, Brentwood, and there's not really any strict like schedule or like requirements on how many days you have to go in. I got moved to a new team with a new product I'm working on, and that team is all in California. So if I went to the office, none of my team would be there in person.
Yeah.
So yeah, the office does like events and different things, and there's like a group that we go to lunch together and meet up, and so you get that community face to face and a kind of water cooler talk and different things. So yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Are your kids like at home, or are they in daycare, or where are they during the day?
Yeah, so we're super lucky. Both sets of grandparents live in the same town that we live in.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're still daycare age. Our boys won't be eligible for kindergarten for another year. So they spend about 2 to 3 days a week with one of the sets of grandparents. With the family sleep coach, I was actually able to leave my 9 to 5 about a month ago. Yeah. So we pulled them out of. They were doing like some part-time daycare. So pulled them out. I'm getting to hang with them a couple days a week for the summer, and then they're gonna do like a little Mother's Day out program starting in the fall, just to make sure that stay kindergarten ready.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's exciting.
How's it feel to go all in on the sleep trainer stuff, to like quit your job to now do this full time? How's your anxiety? How's all that feeling right now?
So the first couple of weeks was a little scary, but it was the right move. It was the right time. We talked about it a lot, made sure that we were prepped and ready for it. So yeah, it's super exciting to get to actually spend more time talking to parents than I had when I was working 40 hours a week and then trying to do this kind of on the side. And it frees up a little bit of time too for some of the in-person clients that I'm hoping to take on too.
Well, even just like keeping up with admin for trying to run anything is just like a whole other world where, like, if your brain is split already between doing the actual sleep training and then doing all the admin and responding stuff, and then you're already working 40 hours a week, and then you're like, have I talked to my kids today or my husband?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's cool. Like it's such a fun space because I'm having the time now where I'm doing podcasts. I'm talking to doulas and OB offices and, the people who are more frontline with new parents. And then they're saying, hey, I have this trusted person.
Yeah.
Because I've actually been able to build those relationships now. And so I'm excited to continue to do that over, after kids are back in school and stuff.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I think just in general, that's such a huge moment. Whenever you quit your job to do the other thing, is like I'm a stay-at-home dad, and this podcast is like my side hobby. So like the thought of ever, like, whenever my youngest goes to kindergarten, if I start doing this quote unquote full time, I'll be like, this feels different than just like the thing I do like in my free time whenever I find time for it. So congratulations on doing the jump. That's pretty
Thank
huge.
you. Thanks.
What all do you offer for classes for your sleep training?
Yeah. So I do a couple of like smaller, like, I guess I would consider it more of like a class or a call. One is just for families that are in that fourth trimester space, right? Like we're not ready to sleep train. We're not even close to that. But it's kind of walking parents and especially new parents through like, how do we set up a nursery? How do we build good sleep hygiene while also thinking about nutrition and thinking about just bonding with your baby? Sleep training in general can get kind of a bad rap because people think that sleep training equals cry it out and that they're just gonna like one day decide like, hey, I can't do this anymore, so I'm just gonna put my baby to bed and like see you in the morning.
Yeah.
That is not at all what it's like.
Yeah.
So I love those calls because you get to really focus with those newer babies and like talking to parents about like, how do you actually bond with this kiddo?
Yeah.
How do you support good sleep? And then on the flip side of that, I have another call that I do with families a lot where it's like, okay, my kid has been sleep trained before. They're an independent sleeper, but we're going through something, right? We're bringing a new sibling home or we're traveling. We moved. We had a big illness. Maybe grandma moved in or older sibling moved out. Some of those big changes that can really impact our kiddos and their sleep. So I do those calls as well, but kind of the bread and butter of what I do is like a 2-week support plan where spend some time getting to know the family, the kids, their sleep goals, their parenting style, what the kiddo's temperament is, and then I build them a custom sleep plan. So it's not like, yeah, you can go and you can purchase like a couple of videos or an ebook about sleep, but this is somebody who's really getting to know what your goals are. How does your family function? Do you have older siblings in soccer or school pickups that you're dealing with? Or like, do you have a medical complexity with one of your kiddos that is causing some sleep disruptions? So I'm digging into those details and then I'm there for 2 weeks at least. Sometimes it's longer, and just supporting the parents. Kiddos will sleep if the parents, have the support system behind them to, somebody to bounce ideas off of, someone to you know, troubleshoot things with. So, I do that. And then for families in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, I offer like in person. So this is so fun. They'll actually go to your house and, kind of walk the parents through the bedtime routine. They do it, but I'm there offering guidance, offering support, and then parents go to bed. And I handle any night wake ups until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, so they get a really good night's sleep for a night or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then they're well rested. They're confident in the plan. They're already through kind of the toughest couple of days. And then they take it from there with my virtual support. So those are fun ones to do.
That's cool. I'm glad you already stated that like sleep training doesn't just mean cry it out, because anytime we tried to do the cry it out method with our kids, we'd always walk back into the room and like the kid had pooped their pants or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why they were crying. And then you feel awful and you're like, oh my God, I just want sleep. I don't want to traumatize you. What if it's not giving away too much information? If you don't make them cry it out, how do you actually do that? Because whenever people say sleep training, I think most people think you listen to your kid cry for 2 hours.
Yeah. So there is, the cried out method is a method that some families feel comfortable using. And sometimes with the temperament of the kiddo, it can make sense. Like if you went in and your kid did not calm down, they got more upset because you were in there. That's where I would walk families through trying to think about like, okay, maybe we do cry it out if it feels right to them, if it's something that they're comfortable doing. But it takes a lot of prep work. Because like you mentioned, like, is this a kiddo that's struggling with eating during the day? Are we having trouble with feeds? We're not going to do cry it out. They're probably hungry.
Yeah.
Is this a kiddo who's struggling with naps? We're not going to do cry it out because they're probably not getting enough daytime sleep and their nights are going to be impacted. So if we're not doing cry it out, which I don't use very often, then there's a couple of other ways to do it. And this is not giving anything away that you can't read about on the internet. The cool thing about having a sleep coach is that you're not, as a parent, sitting there doing trial and error and trying to figure this out and read through all of the information. You have somebody who says, here's the plan, let's follow it. So there's like different methods where you kind of check in on your kiddo. So you give them a few minutes to work on it. And what I teach parents with that method during those check-ins is we're watching, whether we're together or they're sending me videos from the baby monitor or I'm logged into their Wi-Fi monitor. We're watching. We're watching for body language, for levels of escalation. And if we think at any point, hey, this kiddo is not going to calm down, we're going in and we're offering comfort and love and like helping them to like feel supported, get them to a space where they can actually fall asleep. We're not going to let them scream and cry for hours and hours. It's like a couple of minutes. We're watching, we're waiting, we're seeing how they're going to behave, and then we're getting them through the toughest part. And then there's also a really neat, like very parent present approach. Some people call it the chair method or the sleep lady shuffle. But parents stay in the room. Actually, I have a family we'll be starting with on Monday, and we're going to do this one. And it's great for older kiddos, toddlers, right? You've gone through this. Like toddlers go through separation anxiety, stranger danger, all of those big emotions. It's great for previous co-sleepers. It's great for toddlers who are new to big kid beds because the parents are right there in the room and they're supporting them the entire time. They're there all the way until the kiddo falls asleep, and it builds their confidence in knowing that they can do it on their own. It's super cool. I love it.
That's cool. Okay, I do have to ask this question though. So you deal with sleep training for kids. How are your guys' personal sleep patterns? Do you then overanalyze like how much sleep you guys get, or is it still bad as a parent? Because I'm like 6 hours, I'm good. I probably need 8, but let's do 6. That's great with me.
I'm not a great sleeper at all. Our kids
Confession.
sleep, depending on, for our older kids, for the boys, especially if they've napped or not napped during the day, our kids get anywhere from like 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. And I'm like a solid 6.5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm up at 4 a.m., like ready to roll. I should probably, we should get more sleep than that. But...
Yeah, she's got the watch. She's got like the sleep patterns on the little graph going, and she's into it, but she's not good at it for herself.
Well, I feel the same. It'll be like 11. I'm like, Devin, if you go to sleep right now, that'll be good. And you're like, and then I'm like, but I have like an hour left in this audiobook. Oh, I would rather complete something than be well rested, says current me.
Right. Morning Devin is like,
Morning Devin. Not a fan.
Mistake.
Not a fan. That guy's a jerk from last night. So Blake, when you had your first 2 kids, you were still in school and doing classes, right?
Yeah, I was in the hospital working on assignments. Like,
oh my
I
gosh,
was in it.
How much do you feel like your kids doing all the sleep training stuff and having to be able to predict their schedule? Do you feel like that made your ability to be a student? Did that make your life a lot more sane for that realm of your life?
Absolutely. because one thing when you can kind of, when the naps come and you can plan things around it. So, that's like nap time for her, or like homework time for me, whatever it needs to happen. And like the really cool thing that it opens up that you might not think about is like when your kids are on a predictable schedule and they sleep, grandparents are a lot more willing to help out and watch them because
It's true.
they're not exhausted and tired. And so like we've got a lot of support from both sides. My mom and dad hadn't moved up at that point in time yet, but her mom did. And so she was over like multiple times a week, like helping us out. And that's really what helped us get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause there was one class I had to take. It was on a Tuesday night from like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., which is like peak bedtime at that age. And so like, yeah, her being able to do it by herself and not have to like, be in there for hours and all that was like made me able to like just go to class and not worry about it.
Well, I mean, because like something you can't explain to someone until they have a kid is like whenever you have newborns or little kids at home, and then you leave to go do something else, it is in the back of your head of like, is this bad? Like, am I screwing my wife over? Like, did I just give her the worst night ever as she tries to put kids down? And if like you start to have the rhythm of it's actually fine, then like as my kids have gotten older, like me going out to a show, going to soccer games, stuff like that, drastically different because I can predict what they will do. And then I'll realize I'm not like, if you feel like it'd be more helpful for you to stay home, you're going to stay home. And then your circle gets a little bit tighter when that happens. It's nice to be able to predict your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. And yeah, whenever you do the pass off for the grandparents and you're like, hey, here's what you do, and they can understand it, man, yeah, they don't feel like if I'm going to help someone, I want to actually help them, you know? So,
That makes sense. I mean, our boys were less than a year old, and they started going to spending the whole day with the grandmas while we were working. Blake was in class, and we just hand them a couple of babies and a nap schedule. Then the grandmas too were able to like take a break, rest.
Yeah.
They weren't sitting in a rocking chair trying to hold two screaming kids all
Yes.
day, and so they were much more excited about
Of course.
helping.
Yeah.
And it was very cool to then hear. I can think of like a particular time we were visiting Blake's like extended family, and hearing his mom in the other room telling like her sisters
That's
and
cool.
her mom like, "Hey, this is so cool. Like I watch the babies all the time, and like they sleep so well and they sleep all night, and she's getting to have like sleepovers with them, and she because she's not getting up 6-7 times a night with them, she goes to bed and sees them in the morning." And it was just cool because I think that just generational differences and parenting differences. Both the grandmas were like, "Oh, I don't know about this. Like a nap schedule, can't they just like sleep when they're tired?" I was like, "Well, actually, this will make your life a lot easier."
Yep.
So, but once they figured that out and they saw how well it was working, it was cool to get their support and like hear them talk about it to other people. It's really interesting.
That's cool. Do you nerd out reading about like sleep pattern books and things like that?
I love it. I think it's so interesting. And I talk to parents about this all the time, like the 4-month sleep regression, and it's got this cloud above it, and people think it's like so terrible and so scary. And I'm like, it's actually really cool. It's where your kids are not sleeping like babies anymore, and they're starting to sleep like adults. Their REM patterns change when they're deep in sleep, when they're in active sleep, and like then I see parents and they're like, "What? All of this is happening?" I'm like, yeah. This is why the 4-month sleep regression is so crazy, because you don't know why it's happening. I'm telling you, this is why it's going on. Because the other, when your kids start to like stand up for the first time, or their vocabulary is expanding, or they're starting to crawl, like all of those things you can see. You can't see when their circadian rhythm is fully fully formed, and when their REM cycles change, but it has a big impact. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
You don't hook your kid up to an EEG or something like that to track their brain every night when they go to sleep?
Don't have to.
No. Nice. Yeah, that's why the first kid can be so exhausting, is because that's whenever you learn all this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, what's happening with this kid? And you're like, oh, this went through a leap. What is a leap? And you're
What's
like,
a leap?
yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, their brain just went from thinking like a newborn to thinking like a grown adult. And you're just like, oh, that'd be exhausting.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. It does. Have you ever tried something new today? No, I haven't tried something new in years. Cool.
I try to avoid new things like the plague.
Usually, yeah, it's a fun balance as you get older to keep curiosity, but also don't have the energy for it. So
I know. I feel like I owe my dad an apology because I'm not interested in taking in new music anymore. I know the music that I like, and I remember distinctly being a teenager and be like, "Oh, like listen to this new band." He's like, "Oh, I'm good.
no, I'm good.
I'm good. Know what I like. Not taking in anything new."
I'm good. What about you, Blake? Do you listen to how are you with music? Do you listen to new music, or do you got like your 5 bands?
I got my go-tos. There's just like a few select that will pop up, and I'll listen to
Okay.
some new, even like people I like. They're like new album drop. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for a new album. Then like 6 months later, it comes out. Like, okay, let's hear it.
That's awesome. I love whenever a band I've listened to for a long time releases a new album, and then I look up and I like halfway through the album, I've switched back to the album that I really love of theirs, and I'm like, when did I do this?
Yeah.
I was trying to chart their growth, and here I am going back to what I know. Okay, what music do you make your kids listen to? Now that we've brought up music, I have to ask.
So I listen to with them in the car. I try to listen to the classic vinyl station.
Okay.
And I'm like noticing that they'll be like, "Oh, I like this song." I'm like, yes, great. Or like the 90s station, and they're enjoying it. But they're definitely into country music.
Okay.
For last Halloween, our boys dressed up as Morgan Wallen and Post Malone. I
That's
had some
good.
help, was very big on the radio, and yeah, they knew all the words. Blake
Did you
had
do the
one
face tattoos and everything?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
got
good.
They
the
have a
whole
little
pack off
kit.
Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That-
Post Malone's actual tattoos and like
Yeah.
a little, yeah.
I'm like, honest, yeah, it was a big
That's
hit.
awesome.
It
Yeah.
was a big hit, trick or treating, so that was fun. But yeah, they're definitely into we like they listen to a lot of Morgan Wallen. Like I said, they like Post Malone, so they're into like some new country stuff, which is funny.
That's awesome. I forget when my girls started dominating our Spotify playlist. I feel like whenever they were 4, whenever they started to like go to daycare and like hear music that they wanted to listen to, and then they'd be like, "Hey, can you play this song?" I'd be like, "I don't have that song." And be like, "Yes, you do. You have Spotify." And I'd be like, "My Spotify doesn't play that song."
I don't have premium. I can't.
Yeah. You run
I'm
out of
curating my end of the year.
Yes,
I
that's
can't
right.
stop playing that.
Dude, you run. I love like I don't know if you guys have reached this point of parenting yet, where you have to think of new. I'm not going to call them lies because lies have malicious intent to them, but you think of new fibs. Like whenever your kids are like, "I don't want to go here," and you're like, "Oh, we're not going to the grocery store. We're going to the zoo. Get in the car." You know, like running out of new lies, fibs that they'll believe is a great daily challenge.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
To do that.
If only if only our kids were stupider, that would just make life.
I know.
So
Why do
much
they have to be
easier.
smarter than we are?
I know, it's the worst. Stupid comprehension.
Terrible.
The worst.
Blake's teaching our 4.5-year-old how to play chess. I see them in the kitchen playing against each other, and they can set up the board. They know how all the pieces move, and I'm like,
That's cool.
This is not going to be good for us later, though.
No, it's not.
This problem solving, thinking 3 steps ahead. No, thank you. We don't want this. When we have 3 teenagers living in our house, we're not going to want this.
You guys are going to be like, hey, it's like your own version of do what I say, not what I do. Like, hey, I love that you're critically thinking. I love that you're comprehending this. Can you not do it based on me and my parenting style? If you can do it on other people, fantastic. Great relationship going forward. That'd be
Not
great.
here.
Thank you. Not how it works, just so you know.
No, it's sort of figured. Too good to be true.
Yeah, pretty much. It's fun, but it's great. Before we start wrapping down everything, what else about your business? Like, if we wanted to, like, how do we find you, get in contact with you? Do you do like classes in which there's availability for them? Explain all that world to me.
Yeah, so I don't do like any in-person classes or like workshops or anything like that. I have talked to a few daycares and things like that where they want like their teachers to go through a class just to be able to best support the kiddos who are there during the day and getting their, sleeping well. But for the most part, I work one-on-one with families. So whether that's like a Zoom call type thing, their virtual support with a 2-week package, or in-person support. I do have a website. It's thefamilysleepcoach.com. I'm on Instagram. It's _family-sleep-coach. And yeah, there's a good contact sheet on my website where people can reach out and do a discovery call. They don't have to, it's no charge, 15, 20 minutes. We jump on the phone. I get to hear a little bit about what's going on with their kiddo. They get to ask me questions about my process, my business, get to know me a little bit better and just see if it's the right fit.
You said you're actually like, did you go through a program to learn about like sleep training? Tell me about that because I didn't know that existed.
Yeah. So like with my own kids, right, I had just been reading things like reading books, reading things on the internet, and kind of piecemealing it all together. So when I decided I wanted to help families like formally do this, to that point, I had 2 2-year-olds and a 4-month-old. So we hadn't experienced the world of potty training and how that impacts sleep. We hadn't done big kid beds. There were a lot of like little things that we had never experienced. And so I went out searching for like a certification program, and there are several out there, all really, really talented and really great programs. But I landed on one through the Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. And I did this one because it was very comprehensive in how it discussed nutrition, daytime sleep, different sleep training methods, how you use them successfully. But then it also it brought in like a big portion around like maternal mental health and helping moms who are experiencing postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, how to be really like a support system and a sounding board in those moments, as well as like building a successful business. And Blake and I actually head out a week from tomorrow. We're going to Denver to meet up with a group of women from the Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. We're doing our very first retreat, so it's going to be a little bit of continuing ed. We try to stay up to date on different things that's coming out about sleep training and stay, as on top of that as we can, but also just a little bit of networking and how we can support each other in running our businesses. So it's a pretty incredible group.
That's awesome. Anyway, so to wrap up the episode, we ask every guest a series of 5 questions, and some of these will be fun because you guys are married, so you have to answer them kind of together. So the first question, we'll see if you guys have the same answer for this. Did you guys have any backup names for your kids?
Not really. We didn't name any of them until we met them. So we had like loose lists of names, but not a lot that we agreed on or felt strongly about. I think with the twins, we maybe had one name picked out. I think we liked Miles, didn't end up using that. And then for Nolan, I think for Cole, we liked the name Nolan. With our daughter, we actually were surprised with her. We didn't know if she was going to be a boy or a girl. So we didn't talk much about names at all, but we did know we wanted, had hoped to use Blake's grandmother's name. And so she did get Blake's grandmother's name, which is cool.
Yeah, all of our kids have a family name.
Awesome. That's cool. Next question for Blake. Do you have a favorite TV dad? For Val, do you have a favorite TV mom?
Okay, so it's funny. I listened to the last episode with Nate, and before he gave his answer, I was like, Carl Winslow, hands down. And then he said it. So for
you
a
can
backup,
say Carl Winslow. He's still good.
He's up there, but I'll give a runner-up is Andy Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
Because he, great moral compass, guys, he's like a great example, so he would be up there for me.
Yep. Now, he's been an answer before also, and yeah, he's just he's a moral compass to that entire town, and that's pretty legit,
That is so funny. I think for me, thinking about being, however many years a mom to a teenage daughter and being a Gilmore Girls fan, I always think of Lorelai. But one of my favorite sets of movies growing up was the Father of the Bride movies. I just loved Diane Keaton's her character in those shows, and I just thought she had such a great relationship with both kids, and I'm just picturing her bringing home that new baby at the very end of the second movie, and she's still thinking about Maddie and taking him in to do their math homework. And I don't know why I loved those movies, and I just love that. I loved her character.
That's awesome. But also Gilmore Girls. It's funny to ask this question to females because I become more aware of how impactful Gilmore Girls actually was, because almost every single mom is it Lorelai's, is it the daughter or is it the mom?
Lorelai's it's really 3 moms are the Gilmore Girls. So you have Emily, and then you have Lorelai, who's the main character.
Yes, Lauren Graham.
Emily's
Got
daughter,
it. Yeah.
but then but then Lauren Graham's daughter is then
Rory. That's it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny because almost everyone is like, man, if I got a relationship like Lorelai and Rory, I feel like I did something right as a parent.
Right.
And I'm like, I need to actually watch this show. What am I doing with my life?
I got Blake to watch it with me a few years ago, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like I've watched a couple of random episodes with my wife, but not all right, season 1, episode 1, here we go. Let the binge begin. So that's why you guys really did sleep training, right? So you could watch
we could binge watch TV. Absolutely. Yeah.
But really, that's one of the main benefits.
Right? To get to watch your own TV show and not have to watch Coco Melon or something.
Dude, worst show
ever. It's so bad. No, it's terrible.
Next question. Do you both have go-to replacement curse words?
Oh, I probably should replace curse words more. To be perfectly honest, probably should. So no, I don't think so. Maybe I should. Maybe I
No,
should get some.
it's a common answer. It is actually number one for the answer. Is like, am I supposed to have a replacement curse word?
Should I be replacing these words?
I don't know. I'm just asking you what word. Whenever your kid says a word later, if you say that wasn't from me, if that's actually accurate or not. You know,
Like we usually say, they got that from you.
Blake, do you have a replacement curse word?
I should, but I don't. Yeah. I think they learn a lot from riding with Val in the car. That's what I like to say.
That's where they learned it from. In the middle seat of the third row SUV.
Yeah, hear everything.
Everything. That's true. Next question, and I'm going to mix this one up just because I feel like it'll be fun. What is your least favorite kids show or movie?
Cocomelon. It's terrible.
It's the worst.
Cocomelon.
It's awful.
It feels like you're damaging your kid. It's like as if you're like, here you go. Here's a bowl of sugar for breakfast.
Well, and we've seen Cocomelon with them, and then we've watched like 90s cartoons, and it's like it's such a stark difference between like, okay, if you go back and you watch 90s Rugrats, there's nothing going on in the background.
No,
with
nothing.
Cocomelon, it's like everything's spinning and lighting up and all these different colors, and you're like, what am I supposed to be looking at right now?
Yeah.
Well, that was like such a stark difference for us when we like watched a few like older cartoons with them. And we're like, wow, okay, it's a lot easier to like
the
focus on what's
level.
happening. Yeah, it's wild. I don't think we need that much.
You don't. Just to confirm, you don't. Blake, what about you? What do you feel like your least favorite kids show or movie is?
It's got to be Cocomelon.
Yeah.
I can't think of a worse one.
That's one that I've actually told the kids before they understood that like Netflix is just kind of always there. They're like, oh, man, Cocomelon's not on right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. I was at like a little mini arcade in a mall the other day, and they had a thing like a Teletubbies like statue in it, like a ride like thing like that. And I was trying to remember like what year would you have been born in which Teletubbies was the cartoon, like was the show that you watched? Was it like late 90s, early like I was too old for it.
Yeah, I was too old for it, but I have a niece who was born in like 98.
Yeah.
And and then I have a cousin who was probably born in like 2001 or so, and like Teletubbies was big, and I was like,
this is weird.
The baby face with the sunshine was like,
real weird.
A little strange. Yeah.
I don't know what drugs I was supposed to take, but I forgot to take them.
Yeah.
That was a weird one, for sure.
It was. Okay. Last question is best parenting advice you've received. And if that stumps you could do, what parenting advice would you give someone?
I think parenting advice that I would give someone is to remember that you and your co-parent, your spouse, are on the same team.
Yes.
Because it can be really easy when you're exhausted or when the kids are fighting to kind of go head to head with each other, and that's not going to help anybody. So just kind of remembering that like you two are on the same team, you're in this position having these kids together for a reason. That would be my advice that I would pass along, is remember you're on the same team.
For me, I guess the parenting advice I would give, it always helps me to think like long term in anything, not just parenting, but just think like it's going to be different when they get older or like get through this, if it's the 4-month sleep regression or whatever. It's like I always just think like what I'm going through now is just temporary. So it's not going to be forever. And just think about how the long-term reason you're doing this. And that always helps me get through things, whatever it is. And I think that's important to remember when you're in the heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still always remember like the moments of before figuring out like a sleep pattern for your kid, when you're in the room with them and it feels like they just screamed in your face for 5 days. And you walk out and your wife is like, it's been 3 minutes. And you're like human minutes? Like,
no possible way.
Are you sure?
No possible way.
But if you know in your head, like, hey man, your kid's only going to be this one time and they're trying to figure this out and you're there to help them out, then it just changes your body. It changes everything. You can still be exhausted by all of it, but it really does whenever you realize that like, this isn't permanent. It changes things.
That's like equally, I feel like for me, when I think about that, is that this isn't permanent, is equally as comforting as it is like sad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like, yeah, okay. In this moment when they're screaming or you're in the witching hour, like, okay, this is going to last forever. But then like when they're, when they're little and they say like, forever. They say words kind of like goofy and you're like, one day they stop saying it that way. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, I'm sad that that's over.
Our 9-year-old still, instead of camera, says cramera for some reason. And I think we're both refusing to correct her. So we'll let society do that because it's still, for some reason, she does it. And we're like, it's still too cute. I can't. She's like buttoned up and straight laced about everything in her life because she's a firstborn. And then she says, oh, did you take a picture on your camera? And I'm like, yes, I did.
Never going to tell you.
Never going to tell you. So, but yeah, it was really fun to hang out and talk to you guys. And yeah, I really appreciate your time. And thanks for letting me know about your lives.
Yeah, thank you.
Kevin, it was great.
Perfect. Of course. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the episode.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Imperfect Dads Podcast.
And make sure to subscribe and rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to us.
The music is provided by the Wildfeathers.
And all episodes are produced and edited by me.
Make sure to tune in Mondays for new episodes.